Ladies and gentlemen, adjust your headphones.
Come on in and shut the front door. You are welcome to the You Should Know Better podcast, the news from the antagonist shoes. And we are back, season 6, episode 2.
Oh, yes.
The producer's telling me it's episode 2. We are back with another guest episode. We've got our good friend, esteemed friend, smart friend, very intelligent friend. Is it too many superlatives? Mr. Sam Joseph, welcome to the pod, sir.
Thanks so much for having me here. It's a real honor.
You are welcome. You are welcome. We've been trying to get you for a long time. I'm glad we finally put you on the pod.
The logistics made sense this time. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for working with our busy schedule as well. I do appreciate you coming on this time as well. So Sam, honestly, if you just want to explain to our audience, who you are, what you do, where they can find you, and anything else that you might find, it's relevant to. Before we jump into the story of the pod.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've got kind of a weird mixed background that comes through academia.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of, British guy, I don't know how to blow my own trumpet, but I've got a PhD in machine learning.
Just for the viewers who can't see, because we're recording this. You can also see this live on YouTube. Well, not live, but when we put it, it'll be live. Right. Sam's office looks like, in BBC you have those interviews with those professors and talk about the nuclear war in Russia or something like that. This setup looks like that. This guy looks like a very, very intellectual professor. I'm not surprised he said that. So many books.
And a guitar just went for the downtime.
Yeah.
A little bit of the creativity mix in there. I mean, ironically, I was actually a professor of computer science in Hawaii Pacific University for about 6 years. So I got this really...
Damn.
And then it was like...
We've got a British Sheldon out here. Okay.
I think it's going to be the smartest episode ever.
well, let's see. I mean, it's, I try to mix it up. But I come from that. I've sort of come from an academic background, but then I kind of moved into more education and teaching at the, university level. And then really got into, actually it was charities. And, so we started my own charity, and a lot of now really in London, try and pay for the pension and the kids to go to university is actually now I'm just like, I've got to make some money. So I've got my main gig is, I'm a programmer, I'm a data scientist. That is a in-demand skill set at the moment, but can be definitely a little dry. Yeah, indeed. It's good times, but it can be a little dry. And I'm really excited. As I was saying, Michael, before, I've always harbored a secret desire to do more comedy, or to do comedy. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
100%. I mean, back in the day, I was involved in theatre, university, Amdram, left, right, and centre. Discovered comedy too late. I wish I'd started it earlier. But I've just done like 30 gigs, and I am loving doing open mic nights in London and meeting everybody and getting out there and doing it. And you can follow me as Tansaku, Tansaku, Instagram. And I've also, with my friend from the course, Joe Vaughan, we started a Comedians on, let me get this right, Technology, People and Drugs podcast, because he is a huge psychedelics advocate. And I'm really into people and technology. I've also written a book on human communication, which I can get a link in there. Maybe it's called, I forgot what it's called. It's like...
What haven't you done? What haven't you done?
When did you come back from space?
There's a war going on. Be a diplomat and go fight the war.
Well, I mean, this is the thing. What I'm trying to do now is
in the Middle East.
Well, that would be... I mean, I think every little helps. I mean, it's what's exciting at the moment is all the comedians in London who are doing little things to, for Ukraine. Little bit. Obviously, it's only a tiny drop in the ocean. I'm also trying to start a comedy gig that will be, profits to Ukraine. It's but I'll just plug my book, if I may, which is called How to Interact with Humans After Spending a Lot of Time with Computers. And it's for people like me who are sort of more technology focused, and it's trying to work through all of the unwritten rules of human interactions. That's available on Amazon. And maybe if you're...
I need a signed copy of that.
Yeah, we need to read. We definitely need to get that. The first person to leave a comment about the book can enter a draw to win one of the books. So head to Twitter, leave a comment. You may have a chance to win a signed copy. Brilliant. Is it an audio? Is it an audiobook?
I haven't done the audio. It's on Kindle at the moment.
Right.
But we can, I'm planning the the hard copy release so we can do a signed one of it.
Yeah, we need that.
Get an audio. I'm an audio guy, so get
okay. Yeah, no,
I'm 100% gonna.
I mean, this is the thing now with Amazon. They're actually making it pretty simple to put it out into the different formats. But yeah, I'm very distracted by the comedy. But yeah, I'm gonna get back to that book.
I'm tech background myself, so I'm definitely with you. So, but thanks for that. Thanks for that introduction. I think that's one of the most academic plugs you've ever had.
Yeah,
to begin with.
The IQ's gone up.
Oh yeah. Listen, I was glad I got my glasses on this episode. I'm glad I got my glasses.
I mean, the fine man.
But Sam, we'll let you obviously tell your story and tell the audience when you the time you should have known better.
Yeah. So this is kind of an embarrassing story. I've actually, knowing that I was going to be talking about this, I've been reviewing all of the embarrassing times in my life, of which there are many because I'm old and there's a lot of things. But the one, and I guess like I just think who am I gonna not name in order to avoid protect
no names. Yeah, that's fine.
But so the context of this is it was one of my jobs back in the day involved kind of like a graduation, where the students were graduating, and we had one time I think it was like Halloween, right? And there was an idea just generally. I was like, oh, hey, let's all do it like as a costume thing, and we're all like dress up, and so everybody involved in the thing all dressed up. I think I was like a Native American headdress or whatever. It was everybody.
What year was this? Because I'm not sure. I'm not sure you get away with that today.
No, well, maybe not. No, so this is like about 8-9 years ago. I mean, it was.
I thought we were going to say 1980s.
No. This is like this century. So like, I mean, maybe we just stop there because the other stuff I'm going to go into.
Just lie, please. Just lie.
He meant 1890.
Yeah,
he's 120. He's 120 years old, by the way.
Drinking the blood of innocence. That's the way to stay. But no, seriously, don't drink the blood of any innocence or any people. Even the nasty people, you probably shouldn't drink their blood either. But yeah, I think it was. It's kind of like. I don't know. I don't want to focus on a lot of respect to Native Americans. Obviously, they've suffered. I mean, I think. Can you dress up that? And that's not. I don't know. I'm from a different generation, perhaps. But anyway, the point being, forget that thing. There was lots of different costumes, and everybody was in costumes, and everybody had a good time, and that was great. So, but then, right, what we had is subsequently we had the Christmas party, right? And people were like, "Oh, the Halloween thing was so great." This is a Christmas graduation as well. Like, let's do a Christmas theme thing, and everybody said, "Oh yeah, we'll all wear." Christmas jumpers, whatever. And I was and I was sort of like the senior person. I was like, I will dress up as Father Christmas and give everybody presents. And then we did the thing, and I was the only one dressed up. So like, it was kind of like,
oh no,
but they left you out.
That's terrible.
They left me hanging. But I kind of leaned into it. I'm sort of, even before getting into comedy, I like mentioned before, like theatre, whatever. I'm dramatic. I was like, yeah, this is fun. I'll be this, And again, it was sort of a fun thing. But that then became a bit of a trend. I have a general problem that I tend to keep on doing things past the point that lots of people would say you should have stopped that a while ago. So the thing was, we then had this. I find it difficult to give up. Like once I've got into the habit of doing something, I find it very difficult to stop. I'm like, well, this is how it's done. Now I'm going to carry on. But so far, so not particularly dramatic. But I got into this thing of like, okay, for every graduation with a new set of students, I will wear a different costume. And, there was like, they were sort of silly things. Like I think the next one I was dressed up as a kind of like a big cat with a mortarboard that sounds kind of strange, but like it was like, oh, because they're information predators, I'm a predator and I have a, mortarboard. So
did you tell them that they also need to wear a costume, or was it just I'm just gonna wear a costume?
It basically became I'm gonna wear a costume. Like to kind of
so they had no context.
No, and I would usually explain the costume, and I think also that there was chatter about what's Sam gonna wear at the next one.
So it was a kind theme, right? Yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
Which a little surprise.
Yeah, it was sort of like, so this was like a fairly frequently occurring, every few months they'd have this event, and it was people who would bring their families and then we've done great and throw the multiples, what have you.
Yeah.
But so and so there was kind of like, clearly I was sort of leading it, and I was enjoying it. Like people were like, oh, it's funny, he's big. But the thing is, and I found this costume shop nearby that had like loads in London, loads and loads of different costumes. And I was like, oh, this is great. It's great fun dressing up a costume. Each time I'll get a different one. And it was so you know, and I think some of them worked out really well. Basically, there was a couple of costumes that probably I should have known better, looking back on it. So there was, and I can't quite remember. Oh, that was another thing. So like, I guess the reasons for the individual costumes are perhaps less important than. So I went with the CEO of the organization to get one costume one time, and for whatever reason, we were getting a penguin costume. Yeah, and so that was, you know,
that's all right. Yeah.
That's how no one's gonna get upset about penguins.
Yeah.
So what we didn't realize when we
Tomberg, but that's about it.
Well, quite. But so with the thing with the penguin costume was that it was, so this shop, as well as just doing like general fancy dress, it also had stuff on the slightly more risque side. You know what I mean? Like some people dress up for, you know, to help stimulate themselves or what have you. And it turned out that this penguin costume was kind of like a skin tight, you know, very revealing.
What an S&M costume.
I don't know. I now can't. There's sort of a name for this kind of. It's sort of that when you wear
a sexy penguin.
Wait, was it like a leather? Did it have a flap at the front?
Penguin leotard. What's going on?
It was so not leather. It wasn't. This is the thing. This is, I think, what allowed us to make this sort of the initial mistake was it just said penguin costume.
Yeah.
But then it was one of these ones like I don't know what the name of the but just like as a runner that you might wear. Right, like the kind of really sort of tight, like you say, leotard.
What do they call it? What do they call it? It's like, I won't say spandex. I was going to say spandex, but
that's the old one. But
it's that kind of like acrylic, that type of running. Yeah, that type of running.
That kind of thing.
Like, is it lycra? Yeah, maybe.
Oh, lycra. That sounds about right. But so it actually had, you know, you could. I don't know why we would find this penguin sexy, but it's sort of. If you wore, like, often you're in the lycra, like, I don't know if you do one, you wear another pair of shorts over the top so that, like, nothing is revealed. But so I didn't have anything else, and I just dressed up in this penguin, and so it was a bit revealing. And so it's like, no, people were like, oh, you should have known, and we were like, oh, we thought it was just a normal, but that wasn't.
You tried it on. You tried it on. You did try it on. How are you going to be the first time in dating?
How did you get there? Do you know what I got?
But no, this is the thing, is because it wasn't like I went there and then bought it like a few days before. I went and bought it, like the place was round the corner from the office. Oh, so I just went and bought it and then got into it, changing in the toilets, and then now here we go, graduation.
You got your tank swinging.
I don't think you even swinging this week. It sounds like a tight, skin tight.
It was more making things that perhaps shouldn't have been visible a bit too visible.
Oh,
if you know what I'm saying.
But
anyway, I think that particular costume, you know, I think we said afterwards, oh, sorry, it was the thing that then is, but I think the students were then kind of getting into the idea of, oh, you know, let's up there. And so people started daring me to wear
different students, by the way. You said uni students, right?
It's a kind of, well, I think if we go into too much detail about that, then perhaps that exposes. But they're all adults. Let's say adults. Learners. I mean, adult in the like grown up, as in this is not children that we have to worry about.
They're of age. They're of age.
They're not like primary school kids. We're just.
Mummy, why is he wearing that?
No. So this is all. I mean, consenting as adults sounds wrong because, you know, some people. But you know, grown up people.
They were grown up. Yeah. Conscious living human beings.
Indeed so. But I think, you know, as I was saying, so there was kind of, I think, a bit of a sort of brinkmanship with some of the students kind of going, oh, you know, there's this, because like the online costume shop had, like, you could see on their website all of the different costumes that were available, right? And so, you know, they'd be looking through it and saying, oh, do this. Anyway, but so I think the thing that became most controversial, and looking back, I don't know, I mean, my life's continued reasonably well since then, but it was quite traumatic at the time, was that there was this costume that was kind of, how can I describe it? Is it almost kind of burlesque? It was a red sequined costume for like a kind of
like a cabaret.
A cabaret dancer with kind of, I think it was with like feathers and just, you know, the kind of the works, and it was sort of like high heels and this, that, and the other. And so I did that one, and you know, I remember
with the high heels.
With the full work.
Kind of tall already. So how tall are you now?
Yeah, looking like him from Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah, like I'm like 6'2", so this was like you know, it was a big heels, big number, all this thing. And I remember like getting changed again. It was one of these ones I picked it up at this.
So you didn't learn from last time. You went back to the store and said, I'll try it on now and use it now.
The staff in the store must have been like, this guy has a death wish.
He hasn't learned.
Well, this is again. This is about you should have known better. So yeah. I think that it was kind of the event was fine, but basically it all kicked off afterwards because I think particularly some people were saying like, what you've done there, dressing up, is like that's girl face. You are disrespecting the trans community by cross-dressing.
Wow, it went there.
It did, and that was a big, there was a big fallout from it, and a big, and it's like I don't know. It was
you should have went with the Native. You should have went with the Native American dress at this point. Should have had that in the back, just in case.
Just to direct.
It's less heat.
Another group of.
It's less heat. By the time they find it, well, you'd be gone by then. So it's fine.
Oh my goodness, that's it, man. Like I think costumes nowadays, I think obviously if you're careful, it's fine. But I think sometimes you can overlook certain stuff and get caught out. Now, especially nowadays, because everyone's hot on stuff, Like you don't.
I guess guys go on the stag do's and whatnot. They dress up as nurses and stuff like that. Yeah, I wonder if that distinction is made there as well, as if they're offending the trans. Maybe it's about where you are and where it is, and I don't know. Maybe it's about time.
Context is everything, isn't it? Yeah. But I just think that, like you see plenty of men in mankinis or dressing up as maids and stuff like that. But one could argue that there shouldn't be any gender roles associated with those jobs.
Oh, it's true, yeah. But the burlesque one, that one's primarily,
that one. Sam can't back you.
Yeah. I can't help you with that one. But the other ones, I think, maybe. But
I'm glad you suffered. So now I know when it comes to Halloween, I know what I'm not doing.
Well, go to the store 2 seconds before.
Try it out. Get some feedback from friends and family. That's the thing. From the technology world, they always say it's important to do testing.
You have to test. You got
to do testing.
That's what I do. I test software all the time. I test software all the time. Regression test it, performance test it. You got to test it out first. You got to then send it to UAT. That's the way you got to do it, Sam.
Thank you, Sam, for jumping on and obviously regaling us the stories about when you should have known better, man.
I feel like you've got a few more in the locker, so we may have to get you on another time.
It would be a pleasure. It's been really good fun.
I'd love to hear the rest of us. I really appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
All right, man. See you soon. Take care, bro.
Take care. Bye for now. Ciao.
So we're going to move on swiftly into the next segment of the pod. This is the You Should Know Better segment. This is where we look at a prominent news story in the news, consider it from an antagonist's shoes, and ask ourselves, should they know better? So we get a lot of stick on this pod that apparently we're too left-leaning, that we let the Labour rights off the hook. So now...
Who says that?
I don't know. There's a certain listener who he's very he wants to hear some right wing bias.
Tory Bob. Tory Bob.
So now I'm gonna put some smoke on Keir Starmer, man. I'm gonna put some smoke on his head because obviously the last few weeks, especially with Partygate, he's put a lot of smoke on Boris's head about him, celebrating his birthday with a cake, having parties up to Ross and Downing Street. Now it appears that in April of last year, Keir Starmer was out here drinking beers at what appears to be a work party with some of his Labour colleagues. So, Junior, I'm going to put you in the shoes of the former lead of the CPS, Sir Keir Starmer, and ask you, Mr. Starmer, why are you out here drinking beer when you should have been in lockdown conditions?
Well, firstly, I'd like to say it'd be nice if you referred to me by my current title.
What's your title?
Leader of the opposition party, the Labour Party. It'd be nice if you leader of the opposition.
You think this is a prime minister question? You think that eyes to the nose and the ears to the left are here? Get out of here, man.
This is my title. You have to be respectful. Give me my title. Well, what I would say is,
Mr. Speaker.
Oh no! What I will say is we weren't even drinking beer, all right? We stopped for light refreshments.
Light refreshments.
Refreshments.
Or called what? What was it called? The beer you drank.
Well, this is the thing. It wasn't. Some people think it was root beer, but it wasn't.
You Vince LaSalle. He said it's root beer.
It was root beer, but there's a distinction. It was actually a bottle, and I'm not sure if you may know this, but it was a bottle of super malt. Okay, and some people get confused because the bottle is a glass bottle.
Have you been talking to David Labby? What's all this?
So one of my aides from Lewisham introduced me to
AIDS.
One of my aides introduced me to this beverage. You must try it if you haven't tried it. I can understand the confusion because the bottle looks like a bottle of beer, but actually it was just a bottle.
So it's just malt.
Yeah, it's just a malt drink, light malt beverage. Okay, what? Soft drink. You may some people call it a soft drink. When I went on a stag do recently, all they drank was soft drink there. So,
that's an inside joke. That's an inside joke. But obviously you got to be, you're a hypocrite.
Why?
Sir Keir Starmer, you're a hypocrite. You were at him Boris's neck, calling him this, telling him he should resign because he was drinking, having parties when he should have been locked down and respecting the rules he set. Why will you resign?
That's the key word. I'm glad you said the key word, party. This wasn't a party. This was a meeting, pre-election meeting. And like I said,
it looked quite jovial to me from the footage I've seen.
Well, you have to eat with a smile when you're in an election. You have to be, smiling and stuff like that because you have to keep the voters and the staff happy. But there was no breach of rules. It wasn't a party. We just stopped. Are we not allowed? Is it a crime to stop for food? Is it a crime? Boris had wine.
I didn't know wine and like you were there eating, drinking, having a whale of a time.
Well, look,
a time a lot of people couldn't in this country at the time do.
The optics obviously don't help, but naturally we were just there eating, drinking, light drinks, light refreshments. I don't think 100%. We were just we stopped. We paused. Keyword: we paused for food. We paused for food. That's it. Now these images aren't new. Yeah, there's a coincidence here. We have a local election coming up.
Yes,
and the sleaze in the Tory party have now brought this to the main center, right? And that's why you're talking about it now. So we should be talking about is the living costs and Russia and leveling up broadband. And I'm talking about these are the policies that Labour are trying to introduce. So go out there. I think it's May the 5th or whatever the election day is. Go out there and vote Labour.
Yeah, no, that's been his defense. I've seen it. Like he came out, I think, on Monday saying, this is just distraction. They're just trying to get the conversation away from the problems that are facing this country. And it's interesting. Obviously, Good Morning Britain on Tuesday had Susanna Reid had an interview with Boris, which was a complete car crash, which has now put the focus back on the cost of living. I don't know if you caught it, Junior.
No, what happened?
Oh my goodness. Obviously, Susanna Reid brought up a case of an elderly lady who's 77 who has a pension and basically saying the energy bills are taking most of her pension. And now because of that, she only eats once a day, and she spends her time using a freedom pass on buses because that's the only
to stay warm.
To stay warm. And then
just riding the bus.
Just riding the bus all day, every day, sitting next to the bus driver. And what did Boris say? He said, I'm the one that introduced the freedom passes. You can't defeat a man that he's not serious. You can't defeat him.
So he's saying, I afforded you.
Yeah, I afforded you your journey.
The opportunity to go and travel around the city for no reason except for to stay warm. That is ridiculous. Yeah, that's someone who obviously doesn't see the issue. But that's
the man that's in charge. So maybe May 5th we may see something different. But because time is going, what would you have for me?
Yeah. I've got a story that is across the pond out there in Alabama.
You're back to your southern states. I don't. But we always America.
No, because we don't do the first segment anymore. So now I've dropped it, but I'm gonna bring it back here. So Alabama hunt for missing prison inmate and guard. Right. Mm-hmm. So U.S. police are searching for an escaped inmate who's facing murder charges. Yeah, and a guard who may have helped him. This guard is female. Mm-hmm. Inmate Casey White and correction officer Vicky White I don't know if they're related, they maybe were last seen on Friday morning in Alabama. Miss White said she was taking him for a mental evaluation, but then officers realized that nothing had been scheduled. Okay, Absolutely nothing unscheduled. Now, police believe that this was an orchestrated escape by both of them, and there's an issue. There's an issue warrant for her arrest because they can't arrest him. They already arrested him and put him in jail. So people are obviously wondering what's going on here. You've got a correction officer helping an inmate escape, and they're basically on AWOL now. So I'm going to put you in the shoes of Mrs. Vicky White. Obviously, we can't find you right now. Speaking from a disclosed location.
Like, I'm in London, fam. Speaking from the caves.
In the boy was like Tora Bora. I can't have a cave called Tora Bora. I thought that was a place in Ibiza.
Man could have been shot, but he had the tripod, camera, lights, everything.
They knew where he was, man. Well, how did that guy? I think he had geolocation cam stuff. Where he was.
Man doing interviews, you're like, get out of here.
They don't know where, yeah. But yeah, I want to put you in the shoes of Vicky White. Why are you out there helping this prisoner escape? What's going on here?
Look, this I don't know if you heard, but Casey White, he is 6'9", 300 pounds. I spoke to Vince McMahon. This man could be the next WWE champion. Escaping him from jail to get him into the WWE network. If you watch out at the next Survivor Series, he could make an entrance.
Bring out a Royal Rumble.
He can make an entrance.
Number 30.
We're losing our giants, man. We had people like the Great Khali. We had people like
he's still about. He's still
big
slapping people.
Mark Henry, the world's strongest man in 2003, but he's still holding on. He's still holding on. So management on the phone, he said Casey White, he could be the next champion. So
yeah, but he's a felon. He was in jail facing murder charges.
Yeah,
right.
What about the Undertaker? This man from Death Valley. So
yeah,
you got a man from Death Valley, the dead man walking. How many people did he put in the casket? And you're not worried about Casey White.
But they're not. But no, this guy's facing federal charges. Okay,
yeah,
murder charge. So at least there's a process, right? Where maybe if he goes to jail, that you can maybe sort something up. Why have you taken him out now? Why have you done that now? Why don't you wait?
I think Casey White, he's in his 30s. He's at the peak of his physical powers.
He's relatively young.
Yeah, so this is the time that he should be debuting. If you look at, you don't saw him debuting when they're Ric Flair's age, he could do 50 years.
No. But listen, there's an appeal. There's appeals, right?
Yeah.
There's time for the trial. You could have even done it in jail. Listen, there's bare man in jail that want to do WWE, right?
Well, you want some stop the yard thing.
You could have lined it up in there. That should be a PPV, you know. That should be jailbreak or something
for real. They're punching.
Yeah, they should do it in there, bro.
Yeah, that's a business idea for Vince. Still,
I might have to holler him after this. But yeah, you could have done it in there. You know, why have you broken him out? And listen, you may be in trouble as well.
I could be, and you know what? I think it's the first time a man's talked to me nice. That's what it is. You know, I'll be out here in these streets, in these Alabama streets, in these Mobile, Alabama, Birmingham, Alabama, wherever Alabama I am.
That's where Mark's out there in Mobile, Alabama.
Mobile, Alabama. So I'll be out in these, and the men that are free don't talk to me nice.
Right.
But I've got a man who's fighting his freedom, talking to me nice.
So it's more of a love story here.
Talking to me. Look, man,
it's more of a love story.
You don't understand. All you see is the headlines. You don't know the real Casey.
Well, this is why we're coming for you. It's not coming straight to the source. Listen,
you don't know the real Casey.
We've been trying to get in contact with you. We've got you here live, okay? Exclusive.
So you
Daily Mail will be looking for you. Yes, I'm trying to find out what's going on.
So all I'm saying is he's a good guy. He's not
a good guy though. He murdered someone.
No, you don't know the circumstances about the murder. You have to wait for Sue Gray to come out with a report.
No. You guys busy doing Superbook Gate. She hasn't got time to find out.
All I'm saying is there's two sides to every story, but we can't get the other person's side. So all I'm saying is, you have to respect that there's due process, and until he's convicted, he's not a murderer. He's just been accused of it.
It's not accused. It's not accused.
He's accused of murder. He's not convicted murderer.
He's not convicted. He's not convicted.
Casey, the way I know Casey, and I think Casey's a good man, and I think that he can rehabilitate and become a 2-time WWE champion.
so Roman Reigns live on Super Slam. So last question: where is he then?
Where do you? I don't know. Where's Osama bin Laden?
He's in the ground, bro. Please ask him. He's in the ground. He's even in the sea. They even threw.
I swear they gave him a Islamic burial. That's what.
But I don't know. They said they meant to. I don't know what they did. So, there's no footage, bro.
There's no they mashed his body up. He's bits. He was in bits. His eye lobe is one place. His leg is somewhere else.
There's no way they gave him this. They gave him this. Absolutely not. I just threw the thing in a little bag and just put it into the.
Nah, this Casey White and Vicky White, that's mad. And it's, you know what? I definitely know he's sweet talk there, man.
100%. You hear these cases though. You hear these cases where these inmates.
We know one close to home. Fam.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, these cases happen. These cases happen. They're well documented. Well documented.
These guys get in these females' ears. They talk to them every day, making them feel good, sweet nothings, all of that type of stuff.
But to help them escape, though, I mean, like I've seen some where they sweet talking and stuff, they're making them favors, but to help them escape,
risking it all,
and then to also go on the run as well. That's mental.
Yeah. Look, man. I don't know. I don't want to speculate too much on Vicky White's dating circumstance, but if she was single, she ain't had nothing or a lot going on in that department, and this guy's saying, "Look, if you let me escape, we can be Bonnie and Clyde." I don't know. He clearly got into here, and whatever he said, it was effective. Whenever this guy gets caught and he goes back to jail, he needs to write a book because he can have all the other inmates escape as well.
Yeah. I want to see the Netflix documentary.
Oh, come on, yeah, documentary is definitely going to come out like this. But let's on their phone trying to speak to them still.
Let's move on to your throwback.
the throwback, the segment. So obviously this is the week beginning the 2nd of May, and this week, Thursday, when this episode comes out, is the day that all of you should be going out to vote for who you want represent in your local councils. And that's what this throwback is about, man. On this week in 1979, that's when Margaret Thatcher became the first female prime minister, when the Conservatives had majority government. And then in this same week again, in 1997, Tony Blair took back the reins after 18 years of Tory rule. And in 2005, he became the first prime minister to get a historic third term. So it's just in terms of sort of go out and vote, make sure your vote counts. Currently, I checked the polls. Not that the polls can always be believed, but if there was a general election today, apparently Labour would win.
Yeah.
Would that be the case in 2024? Only time will tell.
Yeah, but local elections are important in terms of like what actually happens in your local area. Some may say even more than the national one. So yeah, I encourage everyone to go out and vote. Do your bit.
Do your bit for society. Use your democratic right.
Yeah.
You guys have a 100%. Good week. Don't do anything that's going to make us say you should know better. Take care and peace.
In a bit.